You're listening to Mike James Rock Show with Dan and Mike.
Right, it's Mike from the Mike James Rock Show, and joining us this week is Adam Gregory, one of the directors of Bloodstock. Welcome back to our show, man. It's like an annual event now.
I was just thinking that as you were talking then, I was thinking, is that a year already? It's like,
yeah.
wow.
Well, I bumped into you at Download very, very briefly. That was an experience this year.
It was a wet one, bless them. You know,
yeah,
it's kind of is what it is, but they did well out of it, I think.
So for our listeners that aren't aware of who you are, just give me a little rundown of your job as part of the directing team at Bloodstock.
Yes. So I sort of co-run Bloodstock with the rest of the family. So Rachel, Vicky, Paul, obviously, and sort of everyone else. So that keeps us pretty busy. Basically, my role is, as well as looking after the sort of sponsorship marketing side of things, is kind of putting the event on with Rachel, doing all the really boring stuff that nobody really cares too much about, and making sure that over the weekend everything runs exactly as it should do, without much of any hiccups or anything else. So yeah, being on the ball 24/7 really.
Nice. Does that include wet weather contingencies?
Yes. Well, wet weather and hot weather. You know,
of course, yeah. 2 years ago, well, last year as well. It was just my tattoos almost ran. It was that hot.
Yeah, you're not the only one. It was a bit of a warm. Was it 40 degrees? I think we had at some point over that weekend. So
yeah,
you've got to sort of be on the ball pretty much for anything that could or happen. Asteroids or anything really, I guess.
Get insurance against asteroids?
Nope, probably not.
No. Make for good visuals though.
It would make for great visuals, especially at a metal festival.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. You said just now you deal with like the sponsorship and things like that. The show that's going out previous to this one is all about the new EMP stage. So yes. How do they come on board, and how do the bands get picked for that stage? And is it going to be in the same location as the stage it's taking its name from?
Yeah, well, previously, as we know, it was the Jaeger stage.
Yeah.
Things have sort of changed in Jaeger, so that sort of deal came to an end. EMP, fortuitously sort of made contact, with us. I think they're sort of coming back into the UK with the UK office, and they've kind of, a few years ago, kind of everything had gone over to Germany for a while. It's great to see they're coming back into the UK full on, which is fantastic. And part and parcel of that is they wanted some presence, so we had a good chat. That opportunity presented itself, and they kind of jumped at it. It was a great opportunity for them, good timing for us.
Excellent.
Simon's responsible for booking all the bands. He sort of tries to ensure that stage has got a good representation across the board of different genres and different band styles and whatever, and does a fantastic job. So
are these bands that he's awesome. I was going to mention awesome. The Metal to the Masses, but is he?
Yeah.
For the EMP stage, is it booked through the Metal to the Masses, or is it bands that Simon is aware of as his sort of overall?
Yeah, it's pretty much bands that he's aware of. If he does see something particularly, good. Not that none of them are. I mean, they're all fantastic. But if he sees something that sort of catches his eyes a little bit different, Simon could make that call to sort of put them on the EMP stage as well. Or instead of so. I leave the booking process down to Simon and Vicky. I don't try to get too much involved with that side of things. I booked the odd band. I booked one of the bands for 2025.
Oh, you have you? I was going to mention that.
But Vicky and Simon, to be fair, do all of that. So
let's move on then. As you just mentioned, it to 2025. It's already public knowledge that all your headliners are locked in already. That's got
both stages.
For both stages. Wow.
Yes.
That's got to feel something special to be, because you mentioned it was announced online a month or so before Bloodstock this year. So it must be quite nice knowing that everything's inked and you can say that you've got it all in place. 14, 15 months ahead of the actual event?
Yeah, I mean, the conversations start, to be fair. Vicky's already having conversations for 26 with some bands, which is, wow. Bizarre. 10 years ago, the agents wouldn't dare talk to you, even you're 6 months out. So to be in a situation now where you're doing it almost 2 years early, I guess COVID's had a bit of a knock on because people are trying to catch up with tours and shows and events. So people are chatting generally a bit earlier. But I mean, for us, it's great that we're going into 2024 with all the headliners 25 locked in.
Yeah.
They'll all be announced on the Friday night
Okay.
Which is great. So there, yeah, we've got all those headliners being announced for both stages, plus some other bands as well. And we're currently, as we're recording this, working on the video now for the screens. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm being very conscious not to say anything
Yeah.
because I have a habit of saying the wrong thing. So,
and I'm trying my best to try and weed something out of you, but
yes,
it's not.
Yes,
happening.
I'm waiting for the next subject now.
we'll
move back to Simon and the Metal to the Masses, which this year just seems to have really exploded. Like the heats have been selling out, the actual grand finals have been selling out, and this is all in underground grassroots venues, which for me shows that it is alive and kicking. It might not be filling arenas, but it's where these bands start, and that's where they, in 10 years' time, they could be being booked 2 years in advance to play a headline slot at Bloodstock, that kind of thing. You've got to start at the grassroots, and that's what Simon and your team do. It's awesome.
I mean, Bloodstock's Metal to the Masses, that does exactly for us what it should do, and it's populating fans into a grassroots arena, or grassroots area, if you like.
Yeah.
It's helping venues sell out, which is great for them. It's good for the bars, it's good for the venues, it's good for the bands, it's great for the bands, in fact. And it's good for the sort of the kudos of Metal to the Masses and to its value. To sort of be able to go to a show and discover, phenomenal bands that no one's ever heard of, I think is something fantastic, and something to sort of truly behold. So I think it's absolutely brilliant. And for me, long may that continue. And Simon and the team do a fantastic job. The venues, the promoters, the fans, they all play a part, including the bands as well. So, without every element working, you've got something that's not great. But I'm, fantastic for me to be able to sit here and sort of smugly say it works brilliantly. It really does.
Yeah. What I've noticed from seeing photos of the Metal to the Masses from around the country, unlike some other festivals and competitions, it's very much a younger person's thing. But there are bands that are getting to the final that are, guys that are 40, 50, 60 years old, and they're there just to rock out and have fun, and could end up fulfilling a dream of playing at a major UK festival. It's just not. It's showing that it's multi-generational now.
It has to be. Let's be honest. I would love to be able to pick up a guitar and start playing it and learn to do that. If I had the time, I'd do it. And it's great that people do have that time and ability to sort of try and do something like that, which is fantastic. And sort of with Metal to the Masses, it's very much not about an age demographic, a sexual preference, a religious status, or anything else. It's about a performance on stage. And it's that's all it should be about, is about musicality, and the bands, the fans, Simon and everybody else, and all the promoters, they do all they can to promote exactly what it should be, and that's what I love about it, because it's honest and it's true.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's what's needed, and it's now a bastion of the UK. Not just metal, because it's metal, rock, hardcore, punk, everything. It's just it's what bands gear towards now. It's like, well, we've got this pathway right through where we could win Metal to the Masses, play Bloodstock, then maybe a year or so later get invited back because we're that good, and then eventually, and the way the Bloodstock nurtures bands as well, you can see them climbing up and up. I'm thinking Evil Scarecrow for instance.
Yeah. There's lots of bands that have done that. It's great to see, but Bloodstock isn't, and I would never say to a band, your performance at Metal to the Masses at Bloodstock is not the pinnacle of your career. That is a stepping stone to the next level.
Yeah.
And I think that's all it should be viewed as. It's a great opportunity, and those bands that take that on board and they do the work at the show with the PR and everything else that they've basically got access to, it's down to that band to do as much as they want to do to fulfill that dream moving forward. We should be that stepping stone, and it'd be great for us to sort of, let's say, recall Metallica or Iron Maiden, sort of, if they were to turn around and say, oh yeah, I started out at, this festival called Bloodstock's Metal to the Masses that we won, and blah, blah, blah. That would be a story, and I think if we can help a band, get to that next stage and get to that sort of level of major sort of metal group, rock group, whatever it may be, there's one caveat. Just when we ask you to come back, just keep the price in mind. That's about it.
Yeah. Remember your roots, where you started.
Exactly. Yeah.
This year's a bit special because you're going to be actually having a ceremony, and Lemmy's, or part of Lemmy's ashes, are going to be kept at Bloodstock as a lasting memorial to him, I guess. How did that all come about? Because you don't get a lot of ash for a guy like that because he wasn't a big guy, but it seems to have got his ashes have gone around the world. Like James Hetfield's got his tattoo using the ashes. It must be something really special to be able to be a UK festival picked to host those ashes.
To be fair, that came from Alan Hungerford and Vicky. Vicky met Alan when Alan was Lemmy's PA, and he'd been working with Lemmy for forever pretty much, and sort of following him around the world globally, sort of being on call for him. And obviously Vicky married Alan, and they then ended up having a great relationship with Lemmy. Stayed at his house, in LA quite a lot, and sort of traveled with him around the world as well. So when we were actually approached by Motorhead management to say, could we sort of be considered, if you like, for the UK? Would we sort of be interested? And obviously we jumped at it because it's it's things super special. I think you've got Wacken in Germany, you've got Hellfest in France. I think it's at the Rainbow Bar and Grill in LA, and then Bloodstock in the UK. So they asked us to sort of, what can we do to sort of commemorate Lemmy so that he's always kind of going to be there. Now they've got this, and they've created this pyramid urn with Lemmy's hat on. And what we thought would be a great idea is if we then had a bust made, and it's a very metal bust that you'll all get to see at Bloodstock this year. And Lemmy's ashes will be encased within the bust behind a sort of heavy duty glass screen, perspex screen, so people can see them.
Wow.
Or see the urn, if you like, with those ashes in. But
is that going to be in the museum bit?
Yeah, it's going to be the gallery. We're recreating Lemmy's dressing room, and that's going to be on. It's going to be guarded, obviously, for obvious reasons, but security will be there. But it's going to be on show for pretty much anybody and everybody to sort of come along, pay their respects, and sort of be a part of that history.
That's nice.
And then on the Monday after Bloodstock, and we've got lots happening at Bloodstock, as you probably already know. We've got the Motorhead Bomber, and we've got the Sirens going, and bands paying tribute and bits and bobs as well, which is great. It will then go by Harley procession to Rock City in Nottingham, where was another sort of favourite place that Lemmy used to play with Motorhead. And it will sort of they've built again an encased display cabinet in the main foyer, ready to receive the bust on the Monday after Bloodstock, and then each year it'll return to Bloodstock and sort of sit pride of place at the festival.
That's amazing. That's so cool. Yeah. And to be the only place in the UK to do it as well. People.
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
people will actually travel for it.
Yeah, they will, absolutely. I mean, Stoke having a statue built, but I think there's something kind of very special where, part of Lemmy sits within that bust, and hopefully it'll sort of hold the meaning that to everybody else that it does for us. It's something really cool.
That's amazing. Is there going to be like photos from when Motorhead played? That must be over a decade ago now. Yeah, there'll be photos. There's going to be on the Friday afternoon. It's all being programmed in that Phil will be on stage. Phil Campbell will be on stage, and Motorhead's management as well, and they'll be placing the ashes actually within the bust on stage. Have a few words from the management and about Lemmy, and that's let's celebrate the weekend as he would want everybody to do. That's cool, man. I really like that.
Being a part of history, I think it's something a bit special.
Yeah. One last thing. This year, it is the official bin jousting tournament going ahead.
Yeah.
Is this because you just could not stop people from doing it, so you've now had to do it?
It's a case officially. Of every single year we say don't do it, and every single year they always do it.
Yeah.
And the problem is because they're doing it. I'm not saying illegally. They're doing it. They're doing something they shouldn't be doing. We're asking them not to because it's dangerous. They end up getting lots of injuries that we end up having to deal with anyway.
Yeah.
So we just thought, look, as much as we've tried to stop it, and we've taken the wheels off the bins, we've chained them to fences, we've hidden them, and they always seem to either free the bins or find bins. So we've just thought, right, okay, well, if we're going to do this, and it's going to happen, let's try and mitigate it a little bit and make it a bit safer without taking all the fun out of it.
Yeah.
We spend a phenomenal amount of money on bins each year because we have to, but the ones that get damaged, we have to buy and we have to replace.
Of course, yeah.
They're not good for anything other than to be scrapped. So we thought, right, we'll buy some bins, we'll reinforce them, make sure they can be used properly. We'll put some mats down either side. There will be rules for obviously people to make sure that they're safe, but we can sort of let them have their fun, but do it in a safer environment, then that kind of works. So we want it to be something special. We don't want to take things away from the fans as far as fun goes.
No, you just want to make sure that they're looked after, really.
They can go home with a great memory and not a sore head.
Yeah. Well, there is a sore head, but that's just from headbanging.
Yeah.
Because the lineup is so stellar this year as well.
It is. It's a good one. And next year is going to be equally as stacked. So,
Was it you said we're playing next year?
Mm-hmm. Friday. You'll find out on the Friday.
I tried.
You did.
Dude, it's always nice catching up with you. Thanks very much for taking some time out. And we'll see you at Bloodstock in a few weeks' time.
Fantastic. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Adam. Thank you.